Hi Krishna dear devotees, my name is Tulsi Sakhi Devi Dasi. Today we'll speak on Srimad Bhagavatam. I have signed up to give class every other Monday with the desire to learn and dive myself deeper into the study of scriptures. And I'm hoping and praying that in my humble attempt, I can say some words that are pleasing to the assembled Vaishnavas. Thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivara Dhari Jaya Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivara Dhari Jaya Girivara Dhari Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We can chant these prayers together. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Naranarayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishchiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. By the mercy of the Guru, even a dumb man can become the greatest orator, and even a lame man can cross mountains. As advised by Lord Brahma, one should remember this Shastric injunction if one desires success in his life. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So on Mondays it is speaker's choice, which is a little more difficult. So last time I spoke on Monday, we started the discussion on Narada Muni because we had just ended the chapter on Prahlad Maharaj and Nrsingadev. And Prahlad Maharaj is one of the 12 Mahajans, as we know. And his guru, Narada Muni, who's also one of the Mahajans, is where we kind of branched into. And I hope that in my readings of the Bhagavatam, we can follow Narada Muni, not on with his Veena, but at least on the pages of the Bhagavatam. So last class we discussed Canto 1, Chapter 3, verse 8. And it talked about Narad Muni being the third empowered incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in that verse, it was described how Narad Muni was not only the guru of so many exalted devotees, of Srila Vyasadeva himself, of Valmiki Rishi, of Prahlad Maharaj, but he was also very compassionate for those who are completely engaged in fruitive activities, and for them he wrote the Narada Pancharatrika so that those who are engaged in fruitive activities can gradually take to the process of Krishna consciousness. So today we will go to the next chapter where Narad Muni is discussed again, and the chapter is Canto 1, Chapter 4, the appearance of Sri Narada. And we can, our verses we can read together are from 26 through the end of the verse 33. And our focus verse will be the last one, verse 33. Maybe we can get a microphone so that we can all read. So as we wait for the microphone, so chapter 4, Sutta Goswami is relating the story of Vyasadeva on being questioned by Saunaka Rishi. Prabhu, you want to start reading from text 26, and then pass it on.
O twice-born Brahmanas, still his mind was not satisfied, although he engaged himself in working for the total welfare of all people.
So this is Sutta Goswami mentioning how Vyasadeva first structured the Bhagavatam into 4 sections, and then he also wrote the Mahabharata, and he was still not satisfied. Text 27. 27.
Thus, the sage, being dissatisfied at heart, at once began to reflect, because he knew the essence of religion, and he said within himself,
You can, and in the purport here, it says, the sage began to reach out the cause of not being satisfied at her heart. Perfection is never attained until one is satisfied at heart. This satisfaction of the heart has to be searched out beyond matter. Text 28 and 29.
I have, under strict disciplinary vows, unpretentiously worshipped the Vedas, the spiritual masters, and the altar of sacrifice. I have also abided by the rulings and have shown the import of disciplic succession through the explanation of the Mahabharata, by which even women Sudras and others, friends of the twice-born, can see the path of religion.
Read the next one and then pass it back.
I am feeling incomplete, though I myself am fully equipped with everything required by the Vedas.
This may be because I did not specifically point out the devotional service of the Lord, which is dear both to perfect beings and to the infallible Lord.
So in this purport, it is mentioned that, actually Prabhupada is mentioning that the dissatisfaction was felt by Srila Vyasadeva, is being expressed here in his own words. This was felt for the normal condition of the living beings in the devotional service of the Lord. Unless one is fixed in normal condition of service, neither the Lord nor the living being can become fully satisfied. This defect was felt by him when Narada Muni, his spiritual master, reached him, and is described as follows. Text 32, please.
As mentioned before, Narada reached the cottage of Krishna Dvaipayana, Vyas, on the banks of the Saraswati, just as Vyas was regretting his defects.
And then our focus verse is 33.
At the auspicious arrival of Sri Narada, Sri Vyasadeva got up respectfully and worshipped him, giving him veneration equal to that given to Brahmaji, the creator.
So we'll start with the Sanskrit again. Tam abhigyaya sahasa pratyuthaya gatam muni pujayam asa vidhivan Naradam sura pujitam tamabhigyaya sahasa pratyuthaya gatam muni pujayam asa vidhivan Naradam sura pujitam tamabhigyaya sahasa pratyuthaya gatam muni pujayam asa vidhivan Naradam sura pujitam. Please chant. Pratyuthaya gatam muni pujayamasa vidhivan Naradam Surapujitam. Tamabhigyaya Sahasa Pratyuttaya Gatam Muni Pujayam Asa Vidhivan Naradam Surapujitam. Tamabhigyaya Sahasa Pratyuttaya Gatam Muni Pujayam Asa Vidhivan Naradam Surapujitam. Would one of you like to try to read? Yaya Sahasa Pratyuttaya Gatam Muni Pujayam Asa Vidhivan Naradam Surapujitam. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So we can go into the synonyms. Tam Abhigyaya, together, seeing the good fortune of his Narada's arrival. Sahasa, all of a sudden. Pratyuttaya, getting up. Agatam, arrived. Muni, Vyasadeva. Pujayam asa, worship. Vidhivat, with the same respect as offered to Vidhi, Brahma. Naradam, to Narada. Sura Pujitam, worshipped by the demigods. Translation again. At the auspicious arrival of Sri Narada, Sri Vyasadeva got up respectfully and worshipped him, giving him veneration equal to that given to Brahmaji, the creator. Purport. Vidhi means Brahma, the first created living being. He is the original student as well as professor of the Vedas. He learned it from Sri Krishna and taught Narada first. So Narada is the second Acharya in the line of spiritual disciplic succession. He is the representative of Brahma, and therefore he is respected exactly like Brahma, the father of all Vidhi's regulations. Similarly, all other successive disciples in the chain are also equally respected as representatives of the original spiritual master. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport of first canto, chapter 4 of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Appearance of Sri Narada. So Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God, was not satisfied, we see here, performing his duties. Vyasadeva followed strictly disciplinary vows, worshipped the Vedas, worshipped his spiritual masters, wrote the Mahabharata for the less analytical classes of people, and yet he was not satisfied. We are all looking for satisfaction, complete satisfaction. And in these verses we see that often, we say, okay, what we do is not important. Sometimes in the common modern circles we hear, but the why is very important, why we do it and how we do it is important. But in these verses we're seeing that what we do is also equally important. So if, we can do whatever we can do, but if we have the good intention and if we have good skill set, mental, physical, emotional, whatever it is that we like to do, we can do and we can get satisfaction. But we can see in this example of Srila Vyasadeva that he was doing the highest welfare, in a sense, close to the highest, and yet he was not satisfied. Why? Because he had not directly glorified Krishna. He had not performed direct service to the name, qualities, pastimes of Krishna and his devotees. And so he was not satisfied. Narada Muni, his spiritual master, waited for Vyasadeva to, structure the Vedas into 4 Vedas, write the Mahabharatas. He didn't go to Vyasadeva and say, "Why, don't waste your time doing all this." He waited for his disciple to come to that state of dissatisfaction, and then he appeared. When I was reflecting on this verse, I remembered one class that His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu had given in Denver one time. And as we know, Vaisheshika Prabhu is an initiating spiritual master. He's a luminary, a trailblazer, book distributor. He's always meditating on how to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books, how to bring everyone he meets closer, how to fan the spark that they have. When he's a grihastha, but at one time in his grihastha ashram journey, he was selling water filters, and of course, whatever Vaisheshika Prabhu does, he does it to perfection. But he was mentioning in his class that at one point he was done glorifying water filters. He wanted to spend all his time directly glorifying the name, qualities, pastimes of Krishna and his devotees, distributing his books, always meditating on Krishna. And that stuck with me because unless, and as Vyasadeva is also Vyasadeva is also experiencing over here, unless we are only completely satisfied when we are glorifying the name, qualities, pastimes of Krishna directly in devotional service and glorifying his devotees. I also, prior to reading, but I just noticed another point in this verse that we are focusing, that Prabhupada is mentioning here, that he's the original student and professor of the Vedas. Vidhi means Brahma, the created first being. He's the original student and the professor of the Vedas. And I really appreciate this analogy of being a student and a professor. Many times we have a lot of different analogies that we use for our process or for our training here in Krishna consciousness. We refer this to a hospital. Sometimes it is a prison house, we're aware. But every time I hear a reference to it of being like an educational institution, I am very inspired and enlivened that we come here as students, and then at some point in time, we start helping and teaching whatever we have learned to others who are coming in as students. And I find that keeping the mentality of a student, always learning, always growing, is very enlivening and uplifting. And here, Prabhupada himself has brought out this analogy of being Brahma being the original student and the professor. So, to elaborate a little bit more on the topic of being fully satisfied, we all may have some good qualities or many good qualities. And at this point, are you able to pull that first picture? So I wanted to bring up this picture. So here we can see this beautiful lady. She has a lot of jewelry on her. When you see her, what comes to your mind? I just wanted to use a picture as an example to bring out an analogy. Sandra, when you see, huh? Wealthy. Anything else coming to your mind when you see? She stole a lot of Maha jewelry from the deities. She's a movie star. So, yes, Sandra, anything else coming to your mind? She looks like she's in ISKCON drama. So, when I was looking at this picture, it's like she has a lot, she's very beautiful, and she has a lot of beautiful jewelry. But somehow they're like all over the place, cluttered, and almost a little jarry, with like there's necklaces hanging from her shoulders. Like there's just so much, she doesn't know what to do with it and how to align it. Um, Seems a little excessive, wouldn't you say? Prabhu dresses the deities, so he can tell, like, okay, there's just too much going on over here. So if you now go to the second, so wait, hold on. So the point I wanted to bring out is that many people have a lot of brilliant qualities and skills, but they are not aligned with the purpose. We may have a lot of good qualities, but if we're not aligned with our purpose, then we end up looking like the previous picture. Like this. Our qualities start to look like this because we just don't know what to do with them. And we just like, oh, I'm good at this, and I can sing, and I can dance. Look at me. I can cook. But all I'm trying to do is look at me, I'm so good. Like, I don't know what to do to attract your attention. So I just, like, everything out there. Then we go to the second picture. And of course, we cannot compare anyone to the beauty of Sri Sri Radha Kalachandji. But we can see here in this picture and the previous one, I picked the night dressing pictures, and even in the previous one, because we put just few ornaments on the deities, just one set of earrings and one necklace, just one, and yet they look so beautiful. So the analogy I want to draw here is we may have few good qualities, and every one of us have some good quality. But when we align our skills, our qualities with the will of Krishna and his devotees, then we become like these simple pieces of jewelry adorning Radha Kalachandji. I'm always thinking of jewelry, so. And then there's, another category. We may feel we have no good qualities, no skills, and we're completely incomplete, There's nothing good about me, I have, nothing is like to a level where I can offer it to Krishna. And so when I was thinking about that, we just, in our Bhakti Shastri class, just finished the reading of Sri Ishopanishad. And the invocation, we're supposed to have memorized this. Om Purnamadam Purnamada, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. But we hear and we feel like, but we don't feel complete. I can't sing like Janavi Harrison. I can't like dance with the energy and enthusiasm at his age like Chandramauli Swami. I can't cook even a little bit like Mother Manjwali, what is complete about me? And in the purport, Srila, actually, this purport is written by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, right? Ishopanishad or Srila Prabhupada? Okay, thank you. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada is calling out that all facilities given to the small, complete units, namely the living beings, to enable them to realize the complete whole. So it's not that we're complete in, this quality or that quality, but whatever it is that we need to be completely aligned with the will of Krishna is what we have been given. So, and for everyone, that is different. So what I need to be completely aligned with the will of Krishna may be different from what you need. So we shouldn't get caught up with comparing ourselves with others and with the devotees or anybody even outside, that, oh, they have so many qualities and what do I have? We should be satisfied and be very confident that whatever it is that we need to come closer to Krishna, to be completely aligned with his desire, Krishna has already given that to us as a quality, as an ability, as a skill, as a desire. We are all coming, from many different past lives, and so, we may not know why is my life a little different from her life, etc. And that is why we may feel sometimes bewildered that I'm not fitting in, or I'm not on the same platform, or at the same level as they are. But we should always come back to this point that Krishna has given us everything we need to become completely aligned with him. And then there's this other category that there's some devotees that have many beautiful qualities, and they have aligned those qualities with their guru's desire, with Krishna's desire. So recently, many of us were at the Sadhu Sangha, and for me, the first night when I went in, I was like overwhelmed after traveling so much. The whole auditorium was massive, and there were so many devotees, and just trying to fit in. There were two big, massive screens, and I immediately, okay, let's close your eyes and get absorbed. And right after you do that, and the kirtan is so ecstatic, you start to get ecstatic. And day one and day two, we were like, just jumping and dancing and totally getting absorbed. And then the body starts to give way and just say, okay, I can't do what you want to do. And so, but there's so much nectar, there's so many kirtans. Well, what will you do? What can you do? So then some of us started sitting up front to the right of the stage where the big screens are. And for me, this was around end of day two. And Bibi Govinda Maharaj, there was kirtan that Bibi Govinda Maharaj was chanting. And when Bibi Govinda Maharaj chants, there are the backup chanters that sit in the back. And when most of us have been in Bibi Govinda Maharaj's kirtans, due to Kirtan 50 being held here in Dallas, and we all know that when Maharaj starts, he, first many mantras, he will go very, very focused and very slow, and he closes his eyes. And what I noticed at that time was how these backup chanters, they were so focused. They were looking at, because there was this big monitor right in front of me, and it was zooming in on all of these backup chanters. And the backup chanters, like Kirtan Premi, Achyuta Gopi, they are, they have a fan following of their own. My daughter is such a, she'll listen always to Kirtan Premi and Achyuta Gopi and the Bhakti brothers. They well recognized Kirtan devotees. But when they were chanting with Maharaj, they were completely focused on, when Maharaj would give them the cues. Just like Chakora birds, they were just all so focused on Maharaj as Maharaj was chanting. And then, when Maharaj gives that slight indication, and then, one mantra I noticed that Kirtan Premi Prabhu was chanting, you could feel that he was giving his everything to that one mantra, and he was so focused. I was not to impress the 4,000 devotees assembled there, but you could feel that he was wanting to please Bibi Govinda Maharaj. And that was his meditation. And just like that, even like the Bhakti brothers, they're so prominent. But when they sit next to Maharaj, they become like completely invisible almost. They're so focused on, just playing the mridanga for Maharaj, just for playing the harmonium for Maharaj. So that quality that devotees, they become like salt. They become fully present and almost completely transparent. And just like the quality, like salt, it brings out the flavors of every other ingredient in the preparation. That is when devotees align their desires, their skills with the desire of their Guru and Krishna. And when we do that, we give Guru and Krishna happiness, we get completely satisfied, and then all the 4,000 devotees in the kirtan could experience the same happiness. So this is what we can aspire to be completely aligned, so that we experience complete satisfaction. These were some of the points I prepared, and if anybody would like to share.
There we are. Thank you so much. That was a really nice class. I wanted to ask, sometimes there's like a divide between our professional lives or as we work and the temple life. But I see a lot of the devotees, like, okay, maybe you could say, I'm not as good of a cook as Mother Munjwali, but perhaps you can, oversee some professional corporation and bring, a lot of money into the community, into your family, into your, into the temple and so forth. So I'm wondering, can we embrace that professional side of life, or that, especially as married people, as grihastas, as part of our devotional service?
Yes, Prabhu, that's an excellent point. And my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Swami, His Holiness Radhanath Swami, even at the beginning years, I can tell you this, these are direct instructions to me to my Guru Maharaj and another Guru Maharaj. I stopped working, and before we were moving to Denver, and I told Radhanath Maharaj, Maharaj, I resigned from my job and I'm going to be a full-time devotee. And Maharaj was like, what are you going to do? How are you going to survive? And we were, very immature, and we suggested, oh, we'll make eco-friendly housing or something. And Maharaj said, be practical. And then another time, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami, he was getting treatment in Los Angeles, and we were serving him. And I told Jayapataka Swami that Maharaj, when I have children, I'll stop working. And he told me, don't be lazy. You can work and raise kids. So, work from home. And I, all these years that I was working, I was like, my job cannot have a work from home option. And sure enough, COVID comes, and I get to even work from home. So, with the instructions of the Guru comes the empowerment to do. And so many of us, all of us that are working outside, we have to dovetail our propensities in service of Krishna and see that as a service. And here also the beauty is that Vyasadeva was doing, everything else also. In his exalted level, at his level, he was, structuring the Vedas, and he was writing the Mahabharata. But he was not satisfied. So if we experience that little bit of dissatisfaction, it is normal. We are all hankering to be fully satisfied. So we have to be aware that full satisfaction can come when, whatever it is. Arjuna was fighting that battle, but his desire was completely aligned. So if our careers, jobs allow us to be completely aligned, if we can do our jobs and careers being completely aligned with the will of Guru and Krishna, then all glories. But if we are experiencing that dissatisfaction, we should know why that is also. That was my takeaway.
That's fantastic. The opposition to what you're saying is that when we talk about devotional service, we'll say, okay, there's 9 practices of devotional service, right? Beginning with hearing and chanting, right? What is the verse? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam. So where in that is your professional life?
I mean,
you see, you're saying you're doing your work as a service, and I accept that. I personally think what comes to my mind is there's a conversation. Burijan Prabhu, the spiritual master in charge of our education system for a long time, he wrote a book called Our Glorious Master. So he went to Prabhupada with Mother Jagatarini, his wife, and their 2 kids, and he said, look, I'm just going to give up doing any kind of work, and we're just going to live in the temple. And then Prabhupada said, don't you think we need money to spread this movement and to preach and to run this temple, to run our temples? He said, what you're speaking to me is a hippie's philosophy. That's the term Prabhupada used, a hippie's philosophy, to think that we don't need money and we don't need to be, integrated into society to support ourselves. But at the same time, there's this opposition to what you're saying. So I just wanted to see if we could go a little deeper with it, because
Prabhu, you tell me.
No, because that's the argument. The argument is, look at the 9 practices of devotional service. Where in there do you see your professional life? So why are you telling these younger devotees that you should do your work and as devotional service? Now, your example of Arjuna is fantastic. I think that really is striking to going on a battlefield is no joke. I doubt I could do it at this point. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that into this conversation because there's a lot of opposition to what you're saying, especially with us educating our children.
Yeah, and I think it is our level of faith. I don't think I am there yet where I can completely give up and not have regret. I am not there where I want to not have, and I remember even in the early days when not early, but when I was a short period of time not working, when I was asked to cook maha, I was like, there's only potatoes and tomatoes. If I make an offering, I can't offer just tomatoes and potatoes. I need cauliflower, cabbage, and this. And if I need to go make an offering, I need to go buy the ingredients if they're not available at the temple. So it really depends on where we are at. If we are so surrendered that, if Krishna says, can you give me a little salt? And I say, no, Krishna, I don't even have salt for you. Just be satisfied with whatever I'm giving. So then, we can say, but if we can stay, like we're not working, but we can have that sincerity, regulation, and that degree of alignment, then Krishna is satisfied with whatever we offer to him. But if we are not satisfied, we want to do things a certain way, and sure, it's, I think, our degree of faith, our degree of surrender, and us recognizing where we're at, and us accepting where we're at, and aspiring to get where we want to be. I think there is no, yes.
I would also point out to the person when they ask, where is it in the 9 processes, say dasyam. I'm the servant of these little Vaishnavas. Like Prabhupada said that, that these kids are more important than deity worship. Your kids, not these kids. So then if you have that vision that, okay, I'm worshiping these little deities and I have to provide paraphernalia for their worship, which means shelter, food, all the practical parts of just like deity worship. It takes funds to support their worship. So with the child worship, with the practical dasyam, I'm the das of my kids, and I work for providing paraphernalia for their livelihood or worship.
That's a great point. Thank you. Under dasyam, whatever it takes to be a servant.
I'd like to add, before Tamal Krishna Goswami passed away, he kept emphasizing that, especially in America and in the Western countries, as a preacher of Krishna consciousness, like he'd gone around the world over 80 times, preaching in like all the major cities of the world. And he's told us that unless we move Krishna consciousness into mainstream society, there's almost no future for it in the Western world. Because he said it's a very rare that someone's going to move into an ashram. And also, just to throw another point into this, like if everybody in the city of Dallas wanted to become a devotee today, would we expect them to move into the temple? But his point as preachers, he was saying, we should really try to, even if somebody in mainstream society embraces one part of Srila Prabhupada's worldview, that has a tremendous influence in society. But moving Krishna consciousness into mainstream society, he recommended to us here.
Thank you.
Another thing that comes to mind is that when you're in mainstream society, like you were saying, in your careers in every, different fields, you're in their arena, so to speak. Whereas like if you're, let's say, not in those atmospheres, that you just, then you, the tendency is the devotees say, oh, if I want to do outreach, then I go on Harinam or I do books. But these other ways, like you can invite people that maybe you wouldn't have contact with to temple activities by being in there, being a co-worker and whatnot. You're a part of their life. You can introduce Krishna consciousness in ways that you may not if you didn't have that career or job. It's a nice angle of sharing. I'm
a little bit lost on the I'm a little bit lost, but I understand what you're saying. It's my English, it's not your fault. But I just wanted to say that I know a lot of people that is not in the movement or have not come to the temple, but they share some very good qualities. So I mean, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be realistic, but I feel from my heart that we shouldn't be too pessimistic about people outside. Maybe speaking of my own behalf, like a year ago.
No, that's a wonderful point, Sandra. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. It's a nice discussion. And Narottam Prabhu, Jai Gauranga Prabhu. Actually, the founder, Sankirtan movement, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he himself says, Sthane Sthito Gata. Wherever you are, remain there and render devotional service.
Jai.
So our movement is not fanatic, not so, how to say, it's not just emotionally, you just sentiment to do something like that. If you see extremist, other religious, they're ready to do anything for ambition they achieve through their institution or whatever they want to do, although it is not proper way to do. But whereas the Krishna consciousness, we found right thing. So it's not going to affect someone profession wherever they are. They can be there and practice Krishna consciousness strongly. So no need to be argue in that case. He's officer and he can be render service. You know what it is, satisfaction. Ultimately, you say it is the internal. It's not external. So if you practice internally Krishna consciousness, it may be suit and tie, whatever situation, wherever you are, you're happy. So is no need to be any confusion, or maybe our teacher, all they gave, they know the Kali Yuga condition, soul situation. So stay wherever you are, according to Varna, according to your tendency, and love Krishna, give to Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Before we break, I really like what Sandra's making the point that when we go out, if we look at the good qualities of people, and we make friendship with them, not approaching them with the idea that I'm going to force my religion on them or whatever, but if just make friends and appreciate with them, and naturally cultivate a friendship, I find it's in that atmosphere, those people really come forward. If they feel appreciated and there's a friendship established, those are the ones that are actually coming forward and doing significant things. And just to conclude, one point is a Prabhupada disciple told me once, look, if you can engage somebody, everything that they've done previously, whether it was their family or their professional education, their education or their professional work, all of that becomes devotional service when they finally utilize, their energy, their intelligence in Krishna consciousness. But the question that arises is, well, would you be satisfied as a devotee seeing them engage themselves in their own religion? Or do they have to do something specifically within ISKCON?
No, I mean that Prabhupada is, if any path that, a path that is taking you closer to Krishna, to God, and is bringing the transformation within your heart, that is their chosen path, and we shouldn't disturb them from that path. So, yeah.
But I think it should be mandatory that they eat at Kalachanchi's 3 times a week, no matter what
On
path
that
they
note, prasadam time. Thank you for the wonderful discussion. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.